Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokanaman at YouTube with another Q&A session. We are answering the questions from last week's request video. We did not get a lot of questions fielded. Could be the YouTube algorithm, could be people not too keen, who knows. If you do miss videos and whatnot, I've got an appearance on Tumblr as well as Facebook, especially Facebook. Everything's uploaded there, including pictures, work in progress stuff. It's just recently reached 150 likes, so it's starting to really grow since it's only been up for the past 6 months after the old one was deleted. On the salt mine injection molding project front, a little bit of work is being done on a weekly basis. We have the runners for the bolts and rivet plates. You slice off the appropriate size rivet or bolt with a knife, stick it on your model. 3 sticks, small, medium and large, 72nd, 35th, 112, any equivalent in science fiction, mecha, all that sort of thing. They're designed, a lot of work in getting it ideal to pop out of a mold in plastic, as well as the molds are being designed. We'll be SLA printing the tests and doing a test injection run fairly shortly, so look out for videos about that and going into further details. Exciting stuff. Still aware that my models are pretty popular on Thingaverse. People download them and 3D print them. I've done a line of 44-55 gallon drums in various scales for Gundam, military and Maschinenkrieger diorama building, just to get a hang and ideal for cutting in SLA or injection molding. Need to get these sort of things polished before I'm releasing aftermarket parts and kits, so please enjoy these freely for your converting or diorama building needs. I'll definitely be doing more. Part of the shout out segment for the video, DC23, also known as Don from the Philippines, looks like he'll be returning to Gunpla, sort of setting up a bit of a studio. He has released a lot of his tattoo hand drawing art on t-shirts, on Division clothing. These look absolutely amazing. Besides the fact that this is somehow supporting him, if you want some really sick Gundam themed or Weeb themed t-shirts to wear and be socially acceptable among your normal friends or out on the town on a Friday, Saturday night, this is probably some nice urban stuff to jump on for sure. I'll be looking at what else he releases and jumping onto that. Snake Police asks, first of all, I wanted to give you a big thank you for all the content you share. I find it thrilling. Thank you very much for your kind feedback. I do like it when people enjoy my content, though it is very much fun and enjoyable to be working on this even after all these years. If I may, my questions are, do you have any thoughts on pre-shading candy coat build with different shades of metallics and washes, sometimes panel line accents, before applying the clear coats? Do you have any plans adding your own LED and servomotors to some new builds? Cheers! Looking at a straight candy build where you've got the shiniest silver possible with a clear green, blue, red, yellow, whatever on top can be quite dissatisfactory or uninteresting, and just making little mistakes and pitfalls just jump out. What I like to do, and I did with my greys, is when I painted down the chrome or the silver, I did a lot of shading with gunmetal, metallic black, and on the side panels you would use different tones of silver or gold or copper. Once all of that dried, the clear coat and whatnot, and I applied the clear green over it, as you looked at every panel you could see it shade into the metallic black, or the different panels were just slightly different shades of that candy green. Doing that under the candy does work quite well. What I don't do is apply washes and filters then the clear, as the clear or candy clear can react and do funny things. I vaguely remember doing some sort of experiment several years to a decade ago, and it sort of cracked and bubbled up. All of my shade painting I'll do under the candy. If I was to do any sort of filtering and sludge washing, panel washing, always on top of the clear candy, as you don't want anything reacting to those enamel products. Allow sufficient time to completely dry. Do some dry brushing, edging, chipping, very light weathering on top just for that very nice look. The lightest weathering on candy comes out absolutely beautifully. I've seen a bit of example from Master Kawaguchi and tried to imitate it in my own way. Very rewarding. Also, do not be afraid to play with the finish. Majority of it will be wet, look very glossy, though some areas dull it down to a satin or an eggshell. Maybe some passes of very light matte here and there to give it a bit of wear, tear, and variation to the finish. Visually, it could be very, very interesting depending on what you're doing. Something like that, candy up some spoons and runners and have a bit of a play. It is pretty interesting and rewarding. In the way of LEDs, gimmicks and that sort of thing, especially for competitions, I'm not a big fan. LED and lighting is just far too bright and intense. It does draw your eyes to it and it looks really interesting, especially with resin builds for a mono eye and whatnot. But it's sort of so intense. If it was in real life, the sheer energy from that mono eye or light source would melt anyone that's nearby or do some sort of heat damage. You would have to tone it down with a resistor or something else to the point where it reflects the definition and the detail intensity of the project, and it would be so dull it'd be barely noticeable. I kind of like ambient light from an LED on a diorama, or just gently lighting the back or backlighting something. That could work out, but also a ton of work. I may play around with that in the future. Criticize another modeler for exploring, experimenting with that and trying to make it look amazing or gimmicky or something. It's a part of their hobby and fun, and electronics and mucking around with that can be a lot of fun in a toy Zoids aspect where you've got the wind up bit. That is definitely cool, but not really in the realm of my game or what I'm trying to achieve, unless it's a Zoid. Richard asks in another video, "Hi, I would like to ask, for example, I want to create a dragon using Gunpla for the head, hands, foot and tail. For the body, I will use like PVC pipe with pla plates. Would that be legal?" I did a series of videos about the rules and judging criteria of the Gunpla Builders World Cup, how advanced it is, how much is hidden, and how many models are disqualified that are on display or not even looked at by the judges, where people do a lot of work but aren't even aware that they're nowhere near to the realm of what's required to put together a model for their needs in placing winners and their goals within the competition. This guy is asking if his ideals would fit into that. There is a lot of scratch building and fabricating, which would be absolutely amazing and cool to look at with a little bit of Gunpla sprinkled in, as this would be allowed because it's not necessarily playing with bootlegs, casting or 3D printing. It's most likely going to be ignored by the judges anyway. What they are definitely looking at is someone picking up a modern, expensive, recent release of a kit, working it in a way that it looks like it's achievable for anyone to finish that look, but absolutely amazing and impactful enough that it could go on the front cover of Hobby Japan magazine or a similar publication, and inspire people enough to buy and build Bandai branded line of Gunpla kits. Fabricating majority of the body out of styrene and plumbing material, which would be insanely cool and intense and fun to look at and also to do. It's not necessarily showcasing a large amount from a single or a couple Bandai Gundam products, as this would not be used as a retail selling tool for Bandai to plaster on a magazine. They would allow it, but they will not favor it or put it on a pedestal. So the chances of this build using such a little amount of Gundam parts blending with your own work, chances are it's not going to be promoted and compete well with the other fully bodied Gundam kits and potentially place and win. However, it will definitely be allowed to be at the competition on display for other people to look. So if you're after to win and hunt that trophy, not so much. If you want to create it for yourself, display it in the competition and share it with everyone else on a public event, definitely go for it. I think it'll be quite a sight, amazing bit of creativity and a lot of fun. I'd very much like to see a picture when it's done, Richard. Thank you for the question. Truly has been a slow month of comments. I'm not too sure why this chap did click on a video titled Resin Garage Kit and then watched it long enough to leave a comment. I always like to recommend this service. If you're to buy Gaia Notes, anywhere from the UK, US, Australia, anywhere where it's not available to you in China or Japan, there's a service in Hong Kong called Seal Model, sealmodel.com. Link down below as well as in this image. It does look like a early 2000s era, very basic, very dodgy website. However, the surface is absolutely amazing. Utilized by scale modelers that know what they're doing. You can almost buy any of the specialist Mr. Color paints, the limited edition box sets, as well as the full catalogue by Gaia Notes, including things like their frame arms, range, and other specialties. They will surface ship it, pretty affordable, very, very long time to get you. Or another option they'll give you via email is if you accompany it with a model kit, they'll hide up to half a dozen paints among the runners in a box per box kit, and then it can pretty much go airmail and get into your hands quicker. More or less, it's very, very cheap to get it in this service if you're buying multiple paints. If you only need to buy 1 or 2 jars, eBay's not too bad at all. Tristan, the admin for Krieger Australia, also operates the YouTube channel of his name and hoping to rebrand it to Plastic Oddities. What he's after is to get his channel up and over 100 subscribers. Just gives him the opportunity to change his URL and rebrand his channel. If you do have a look at the link, he does a lot of the Krieger builds. He gets objects like mouses and bases for kits and cores and parts of toys, and pretty much bashes them together with glue, putty, bits from vintage kits and whatnot to create his own design machines and mechs. He's also quite talented in playing around and working with vintage models from the Gundam universes and other anime IP. I am a long time and big fan of his work as well as a good mate. It's great that he is on the platform and voicing his thoughts and talking over the process of his work in some of these short videos. Other videos can be a bit of a life general vlog thing and traveling and other model bits and pieces and whatnot. Plans to upload a lot more, so if vintage models and the Marquee stuff does seem to be your cup of tea, have a look in and see what's going on. The commentary content can be very informative. It's just good to go into that mindset of working with multiple materials, learn a bit, and definitely draw out quite a bit of inspiration in those methods and styles. I've also got this lovely sticker from Simon, Gundam UK, all the way in the UK. He seems to have set up his own online hobby shop specializing in aftermarket parts, modeling support goods, bits and pieces for panel line scribing and any sort of more customizable advanced works on your modeling, mecha, scratch building ordeal. If you happen to live in that neck of the woods and definitely interested in that sort of thing, have a look at the Gundam UK website. All links are down below in the description section. If you are into the modeling part, his YouTube channel is very informative, very enjoyable, as well as the blog does touch on a lot of interesting points and observations within the hobby. Definitely a modeler worth supporting and following. That wraps up this month of the Q&A session. Content that is going to be uploaded over the next 6 weeks or so pretty much includes a review of a 1144 ABS tank, a scraping tool for barrels, seams, that sort of thing, being a flash mark along long sections, a review and demonstration of Mr. Color Clear Gold, and a few tanks. Nothing too crazy. As always, lots of content in the description section for every video that I create. There's going to be a lot of looking into 3D printing again on what's on the bench, working towards the Salt Mine Garage Kit project, and finishing up a few models I do have around. Facebook, I've mentioned a few times. Everything's very well laid out in what I'm currently working on well before it goes into video format, as well as sharing other bits of information, articles and tutorials that are definitely of interest. Thingaverse, I'm putting models up there again. If you do feel inclined that you want to support or do something towards the channel, a bit of a handout, $1 will definitely be accepted on Patreon, but it's only if you feel inclined. Nothing to force you. Thank you very much for watching. As always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Pinterest is also down there below for my gallery of all finished works, and we shall catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching and your support.